Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American found footage supernatural horror film from 2019, titled Hell House 3, Lake of Fire. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. The movie begins with author Robert Lyons, who appeared in the first Hell House movie, talking about a new documentary on the cursed Abaddon Hotel. 9 years after the deaths of the Hell House team and a year after another film crew went missing, the hotel was set to be demolished. However, a wealthy media entrepreneur named Russell Wynn buys the property to turn it into the site of a new immersive theater production called Insomnia, based on the story of Faust. On September 16, 2018, Vanessa Shepard, the new host of Morning Mysteries, along with her cameraman Louis, arrives at the hotel to do a behind-the-scenes profile of Russell's production. Vanessa meets Russell's COO, Jeff Stone, the production designer Harvey, and several actors, including Gregory Sandvik, Jane Maloney, Max Stubbs, and Isabel. While touring the hotel, Vanessa feels like someone is watching her. When she mentions this to Jeff, he explains that the cast and crew call this feeling Abaddon eyes and says it's just her imagination playing tricks on her. Later, Russell introduces Vanessa and Louis to the actors, and Vanessa gives each actor a camera to film anything unusual during the opening night of the show, with the plan to include this footage in her TV episode. Back at her apartment, Vanessa is visited by Louis, who shows her some creepy footage of a dark figure standing in the shadows near her during the tour. Vanessa interviews Father Paulus, a priest from All Saints Church who was hired by Russell as a consultant. When she asks him about Andrew Tully, the occultist who supposedly found a gateway to hell at the hotel, Father Paulus explains that Abaddon is the demon guarding the gate, and some people have claimed to hear a voice saying, "The gate is open" in Latin. Vanessa interviews Russell at an old fairground where a tragedy once occurred during a haunted hayride, long before the events at Hell House. Their conversation is cut short when Russell gets a call from Jeff over the walkie-talkie, informing him that his assistant is needed at the Abaddon Hotel. Russell heads off to the hotel, leaving Vanessa behind, and while exploring, Vanessa stumbles upon a discarded Ouija board planchette, which was used a year earlier by psychic medium Brock Davies, and creeped out, Vanessa drops the planchette. On September 21, 2018, the crew rehearse for their roles for the Insomnia show, and afterward, they gather outside the hotel to relax around bonfires. During the fun, Jane accepts a drunken dare from Max to go into the basement alone and touch one of the prop clowns.
Be quick, please.
Jane goes inside by herself, and as she livestreams the entire thing, she fails to notice several ghosts stalking her. When she reaches the basement, she completes the dare but panics when one of the clowns mysteriously moves, and terrified by the encounter, Jane quits the show. However, Russell convinces her to return by offering to double her pay. Even after reviewing the footage, Russell dismisses Jane's experience as a prank, believing the actors have been playing tricks on each other since arriving at the hotel. In an interview with Vanessa, Max reveals that while Russell might think it was a prank, he insists he wasn't involved. He also mentions that he only joined Russell's show because of the generous pay. Max then talks about how Russell has changed since a near-fatal car accident in 2008, which left his face permanently scarred. Meanwhile, while wandering alone in the hotel, Isabel sees a woman in the hallway. Assuming it's one of her friends, she follows her into room 2C, but she soon realizes it's the ghost of Sarah Havel. After this frightening encounter, Isabel quits the production. Later, a closer look at Isabel's social media selfies taken inside the hotel reveals several ghosts, including members of the original Hell House team, lurking behind her in the photos. Russell and Jeff believe that Isabel quit because she was simply exhausted, but Harvey insists that she left because she experienced something supernatural in the hotel. Harvey, along with others, starts to feel that something isn't right in the Abaddon Hotel. While wandering alone after hearing eerie sounds, Vanessa has a terrifying encounter with the ghost of Jessica Fox, which leaves her shaken. Still disturbed by what she saw, Vanessa tries to speak with Russell about her fears, but he brushes off her concerns, showing little interest in the hotel's haunting. During a lighting test, Harvey gets scared when a ghostly woman appears behind him in the darkness and briefly touches him.
What a guy, that Jeff.
More strange things happen when Gregory has an unsettling conversation with the ghost of Sarah Hovel, who disappears the moment Vanessa and Jeff interrupt the scene.
Yeah, you have an imaginary girlfriend now?
On September 30, 2018, Vanessa joins the cast and crew at a bar to relax and discuss the upcoming opening night of the show. Russell briefly joins them, and in a strange turn of events, advises Vanessa not to attend the opening night before storming off. Concerned, Vanessa goes after him to ask why, and Russell whispers something cryptic to her before leaving. The next day, Vanessa and Louis drive to Father Paulus' residence, where Vanessa insists on speaking with him. She asks if Andrew Tully really did find a gateway to hell in the hotel and worries that Russell might be planning something sinister, possibly involving the people attending the opening night. Believing the conversation to be off the record, Father Paulus admits that Russell arranged to liquidate all of his assets at midnight and asked him to distribute the money to various charities. Vanessa's producer, Sam Frost, later appears in the documentary and shares rediscovered footage from the Hell House team's visit in April 2009 and the journalist's visit in October 2017. Shockingly, Russell Wynn is seen in the background of both clips, raising even more questions about his connection to the hotel's dark history. On October 1, 2018, the opening night of Insomnia, the cast and crew learn about Vanessa's news story revealing that Russell has liquidated all his assets. This revelation causes concern and unease among everyone involved, and Jeff confronts Russell to find out what's really going on, leading to a heated argument.
It's not your concern, Jeffrey.
Despite the tension, the production opens to the public as planned. The audience are given face masks to wear as they begin to enter the hotel, and during the first show, they witnesses unsettling events, including a creepy clown that appears in the wine room. At the same time, Andrew Tully confronts Russell in a cryptic encounter before disappearing.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
He's coming.
During a performance between Max and Gregory, Tully briefly reappears and suddenly, the lights go out.
Yeah.
When the lights come back on, Tully is seen brutally murdering Gregory. Panic erupts as the audience and cast scramble for the exits. Chaos intensifies when cloaked cultists emerge from the basement and begin killing both patrons and actors. The violence spills outside the hotel, with the cultists chasing and attacking people as they flee. In the midst of the carnage, Vanessa managed to hide at the bar station, but when she leaves her hiding spot, she is captured by one of the cultists who dragged her to the basement where Tully is, and she is killed. Shortly after, Russell arrives and confronts Tully near a fiery portal in the basement. The two struggle as the ceiling collapses around them, the hotel crumbling into flames. The next day, news outlets report that all the patrons and performers were found unharmed in the cornfields behind the hotel. However, the Abaddon Hotel itself was destroyed in a fire, and Russell remains missing with no trace of him found. Vanessa confides in Jeff that she believes they all actually died during the horrific events, but somehow Russell brought them back to life. She recalls that Russell had once died for 2 minutes during his 2008 car accident, leading her to theorize that he is an angel sent to close the gateway to hell. Meanwhile, the original Hell House team seemingly comes back to life inside the mysteriously restored hotel. Confused and disoriented, they attempt to leave but discover that the front door is locked, trapping them inside. As panic sets in, Russell appears and reveals the truth. He is the one who closed the gate of hell they had opened years ago. He explains that they are all ghosts, unable to leave the hotel because it claimed their lives. Faced with this reality, the Hell House team accepts their fate, and the film ends with the group going to the bar room. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Hell House 3, Lake of Fire from 2019. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.